Welcome to Clixed Off, brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at LuckyDiceCafe.com. And now for your hosts, Daniel Powell, Jason Alvey, and Tyler Speeds.
Hey everybody, welcome to Clixed Off today. This is your host Daniel Powell speaking. Just want to let everyone know that Clixed Off is brought to you by TrollandToad.com, the world's largest Heroclix retailer. Find Heroclix new and old on Troll and Toad. Use coupon code CLIXEDOFF for 5% off your Heroclix order. Pre-order and merchant items do not apply. Apparently my phone decides to blow up at the same time as the advertisement, but we truly do appreciate Troll and Toad for sponsoring us. Go check them out. And then joining me today is Jason, who is finally back. Alvy.
Yep. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I am still alive.
And
I survived the COVID.
Survived the Rona. That's good.
Yep.
And then, thirdly, today, joining me is Alex. I have got to come up with some better nicknames for you.
I know,
Please.
man. This is, yeah. Great introduction so far.
Yeah. You know,
That's
I think
okay.
the thing is, Alex, is that you're not very, like, controversial, right? Like you're our like level-headed, keep us from saying stupid stuff, person
Yeah.
on the team, right? So, right, like you don't have like.
So I need to say some more volatile things, like some things that could get
I
me.
mean, you don't.
get me
you don't
intros.
have to. I mean, you don't have to.
You just need to be a little more edgy.
Edgy? I need to be edgy? Okay, I can do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to avoid being edgy for edgy's sake, but that's probably part of the issue.
Yeah, I'm so focused on not being edgy that I'm just a big square, which is edgy in a sense, but you know what I mean.
So
That's
I've
very
got, I have a maybe an unpopular opinion to start us out with.
Okay.
The Venom movie was actually good.
The original
I have
Venom
yet
movie?
to see it.
The one that came out like, I don't know, 2 years ago.
Oh, I haven't
yet
seen
to
it
see
either.
that.
The one with Bane in it.
The
Yeah,
actor.
that one. That's the only Venom movie, right? Like, there's no other Venom
Yeah.
movie. That
They're
one.
about to make a
think so.
sequel, aren't they?
I don't know, I guess.
Yes, they are.
Like there's a Venom
Yeah,
and
they are.
Carnage or something. Or
Yeah.
Venom Let There Be Carnage. That's the name.
I'm pretty sure Woody Harrelson's going to be Carnage.
That's
It
what.
comes-
Yeah, that was. Yeah. Well, it's y'all two haven't watched it, but he was at the end of the first movie.
It comes out this year. What?
Hopefully.
Well,
June.
hopefully, yeah.
I don't know. I watched the last 40% of it again tonight, and I was like, dang, they really did show, like, it was a lot of focus on, like, the bond between the symbiote and its host. And, you know, I think what we've learned in the comics over the years is, you know, that's really important. So, I think there was a lot of development there that was underrated. I certainly enjoyed it, watching it a second time.
I need to check that out. It's been on. I have it on DVD. I just need to watch it.
Yeah, I'd recommend watching. I won't spoil it any then. So, so what we're here for today, we're going to try to keep it a singular, focused show, and I think we've got a lot to talk about because we started out and Alex was like, well, we talk about Mighty Age 2. Well, I'll go ahead and spoiler. We'll talk about Mighty Age next show. Just to kind of keep our time in check today.
Man, you just had so many people just turn off the podcast right there.
Right, because it's not going to be a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah. Everybody working out that does a 4-hour workout are very disappointed.
Right. So,
those mega episodes are always popular.
They always are popular, yes. But this will allow us to record again soon and not go until midnight tonight. So how I was thinking about doing this, I talked about this on the pre-show a little bit, was going through each modern set and talking about what tent poles in each set are possibly viable, right? Not the fact that they exist, but are they viable, right? And there's a couple that we go through here that we want to talk about, maybe being not viable, or possibly viable, or are viable, especially some of these older sets. So the reason I wanted to talk about Tentpoles, at least personally, was the errata to Black Widow, making her not as playable, right? Because that was the death knell, I think, to Tentpoles, was all of the things that Widow had going for her now go a little bit against her, right? So she can't strip a Tentpole of all of its powers off dial that much, right? So that's why I think the opening for Tentpoles is back. And so what does a Tentpole mean to me, or at least for purposes of this discussion? So I think that it comes in where a Tentpole is at least a third of your build. So, I think the differentiation kind of on the low end here, I'll just give an example. Captain Marvel Super Rare and Punisher War Machine are not Tentpoles. But I think at 100 points, something like God Doom is getting very close to being a Tentpole. Now, that's a little bit debatable. Some people might say it goes all the way up to 150 before it's determined to be a Tentpole. I think we have a little bit of some options here as we go through things. So just kind of keep that in mind as I'm talking about some of these things. And the other thing was, a Tentpole is not a one-man army. And I would say even like 250 kind of makes him not so much a Tentpole if the figure's 250. Because I don't think you can get enough support for something to be viable at that point.
Well, so what's your upper level, like maximum?
Well, someone asked if like Galactus is a Tentpole at 250.
I'd say that's more one-man army territory there.
I mean, man, at like 250, like you're cutting out just a lot of viable perplexes. Your outwits, your and you know what? And then even though as we go talk about some of these things and some of the pieces that you would pair with them, the actual support power, the actual printed yellow support. Because sometimes you've got to have an ability to heal these Tentpoles back up, or the ability for this Tentpole to heal itself back up is also a consideration. So, like, I think to start out, like, Galactus is probably not a viable Tentpole because he doesn't have a way to be equipped. He doesn't leave many points for him to have any great support with him, at least in a 300-point game. So the context is it's all 300-point modern. And then I think the other thing I want to talk about is outwit ability, and then with something like the new Emperor Vulcan Prime and some other pieces, how vulnerable to a big pulse wave or Psyblast is it?
Right.
So that, the upper limit can be, compared to like, so I don't know, I know we're not going through sets, but like, so just for frame of mind here, like 250 could be a viable Tentpole, but like Galactus can't get enough support, right? He only has the one stop click. Like, for example, Gauntlet Panther has 3 stop clicks for 250.
Right.
And he can be equipped, and he has, different ways to heal himself. So, that's the difference where, like, Galactus, I don't think, is a Tentpole at 250. Now, if you got that same dial of Galactus at, say, 160, then, yeah, he's a viable Tentpole then. But he's just too many points for what he does to cover up his weaknesses. So that's kind of my thought process on the upper and lower limits of the conversation. So, but it's certainly a good question, and that one came from Aaron Young. So appreciate that helping us get started there, Aaron. So, do y'all just want to hop in on BTAS? That's an easy one, right?
Sure.
Based off of what you just said, we are not going to look at figures above 250. Like 250 is the top.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, if you got something you want to talk about, then we can talk about it.
No,
Right?
I was just making sure if someone's like, oh, why didn't they talk about this figure or this figure?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot between 250 and 300 to talk about. But.
I agree with you. 250, as a man who tried to make sexy Lexi work, he didn't work, and this is the Harley Quinn Lex Luthor God of Apocalypse. He never worked because 250 is just a little too much. Now today, in today's age where we have so many low point figures, like 20 point, 30 point, he might be a little bit more viable. Like the problem with him was I didn't have any viable Mastermind fodder because he had the defense power with Mastermind. But now that I could pop out, a couple Mary Janes and some paparazzi, at today's age, he might now be viable because he has Mastermind fodder. So I would say I agree 250 is probably the max. But I don't think all 250s are going to be... I honestly don't know how many 250s are left. I mean, Galactus...
Yeah, we'll just go through it as we go set by set, I think, and just approach it that way.
And there are actually, looking general, there are a few, if anybody wants to know. So we will talk about 250s.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So BTAS didn't have anything that could be considered
No.
Yeah,
so,
what was I'm curious now what the highest point figure was. It Bane at 100?
Clayface at 125.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that set was more about being like playing multiple figures and making teams around the episodes and stuff like that. So I get why they did that, but yeah.
So I take this to Battle World.
Yeah.
So I think to start out with that one, you've got Thanos Prime. And I'm going to go ahead and just drop him into the not viable category.
It's hard to do. It's hard with him.
Very hard, right?
The
trade itself is nice. The ability to pick up keywords is nice. But 175 is a bit pricey for his... Again, this falls into... he doesn't reduce penetrating damage, as we talk about some of these other ones. He doesn't reduce penetrating damage. He has no pulse wave protection.
No improved movement.
Oh, and that's a big one. No improved targeting.
No stop clicks.
No stop clicks. 2 good hits and he can be gone, right? One to get him off of Invincible, then a small little Psy Blast eats him off the board.
Yeah, he does have stealth, which helps. I mean, this isn't a review of the figure, I guess. It's just 175 is a nice point value, though, and with the ability to choose any generic keyword, I mean, you could throw him on any Spider-Man family team at that point, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
but he just has too many weaknesses that can't be covered up, I think.
That's right. Yeah. And then that leads us into Regent next. Some of these I'm not going to cover every figure that's above that many points. Like, I don't even want to talk about it, but like Spider Queen, no. Just no willpower, nothing, just not that great.
Hey, you can throw Galactus on her and she suddenly has willpower.
No, we can't because she's 200 points.
Oh, you're right. I forgot 200. In Mighty Age you can. That's why I was thinking of it, but not.
So Regent
has a lot more going for him, but his point value's way higher.
Yeah,
I like him. I want him to be good.
Right.
He can't be equipped.
I think being a giant just is a big death knell for him.
Is there, too many points to be able to tag him with, like, God Doom or something? Like, if he was, like, 200 or 175, then maybe. But, I mean, he has a lower point, I get it, at 100, but I think his 100 would be his only way, but at that point, I don't consider him a Tentpole, so.
Yeah, his 100-point line is not very Tentpole-ish.
No.
And he lacks a lot of good stats at 100 too.
Yeah, that double perplex for Battle World makes me it's something, but having faced him in that tournament in the fall where we had to use certain pieces, I think it was PJ's tournament.
That was the round I beat you with.
Yeah, I know. So that was one where it's like, Regent's kind of annoying, and he's not playable now. I think pieces have just gotten too good. But that improved targeting is something, man. Being able to use any improved targeting is...
That's right.
That's big.
Being able to just go through walls, right? Because he can choose the good walls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could even do improved targeting characters and just shoot over a bunch of paparazzi. Now, he's giant, so he'll get shot right back. But there might be something there, but definitely not as a Tentpole at 240.
Yeah, and then at 100, he doesn't have the stats to be a good team player either, really.
Yeah, I think someone could maybe get away with playing him at 100, but not as a Tentpole, maybe as like a secondary attacker or something.
I think we had such a huge ramp up in like small point abilities and some of these larger new Tentpoles. Like he feels like he's probably 180 and 80 now.
Yeah.
Like I would probably
I was gonna say if he was like 50 points cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, like 190, 180 up top, and then probably 80 points down below. Like any more than that, I'm starting to get a little So the other one here, so up next, the one I want to talk about is Witch Queen LaFay.
Yeah. I was looking at her earlier.
I've tried to... Well, this is one that's one of my favorites, right? Because she's got all of the movement powers, except for stealth and earthbound. She's got the improved movement. She's got leadership. She's got perplex. She's got the running shot pulse wave.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the untamed weirdness, right, when you're attacking her.
Yeah.
The two things on this one, Mastermind is her defense power, and she can be outwitted.
See it?
Yeah.
But once again, she's perfect for Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
Galactus, I think, makes her actually viable. Because Galactus protects her from the outwit and makes it where you can't just outwit her Mastermind. Doesn't mean she's amazing, but I think she's viable in today's because of the ability to use any of the speed powers. You just got to make sure she doesn't miss. Because if she misses, then she's hosed. So
probably something around Mystical seems okay, but you've got to include a prob. So you're probably looking at like Spider-Man family, with Ruler and Pharaoh.
Yeah, because she doesn't fly, so you can carry her around with Pharaoh.
Well, she has wings.
She has a wing symbol.
Not flight. Yeah, so if she had flight, you could carry her, but not the fact that she has wing symbols. So, so the question then becomes, so we're talking about the question in general that we've got from a few folks. Peter Melton, like best support pieces, equipment for said tentpoles, right? So when we go into our actual team builds for the ones that we've picked, we'll talk about that. And then, so Galactus, I think I would agree, number one equipment, quote unquote, for Witch Queen LeFay.
Yeah, and I think as you'll hear when we're talking about these different tent poles, you'll hear an ongoing theme that we each have our own favorite support pieces per keyword. Like Ruler, the go-to support piece now is Spider Pharaoh, just because she's just too good. Now, if they're flyers, maybe not, but just in general, like my first thought is Witch Queen LeFay. Even if I can't carry her, Pharaoh's still good, because the key thing about Witch Queen LeFay is she's 150. 150 points to work with is a lot. So she's a tentpole, but you can easily have a second or third attacker that could back her up and make it where, she failed, but you can definitely save face a little bit.
Right. Now the other thing Now, the other thing to think about, right, is the last nuance, right? The one that we keep hoping gets fixed, but never has been, is the vulture nuance, right? So your tentpole team also has to be at least vulture resistant, right? And I think that's also kind of where Witch Queen LeFay falls short, is that she is reliant on Mastermind, which means either you're putting out some fodder for her, which is not good for Vulture because he eats the fodder first.
I don't know. She has a little bit of protection because you're not gonna probably not gonna Mastermind. You're gonna try to protect your figures because Vulture's going in bear against her. So
but he'll eat if he can eat everything else first, then that's a problem.
I know. I'm just saying her Untamed Weirdness does help somewhat because he has to 3 hits. She'll have Impervious. He'll only be a 3 damage. So if she takes it, she goes to Impervious, and then she'll only take 1 unless he has like Exploit or something, which he usually doesn't. So that's 1.
But you have to be careful with the number of charges he can build up against her too.
Yeah, so it'd be like 4 hits. Best case scenario 4. That's if you roll your rollouts, or if you don't roll your rollouts, it's 4.
Right.
Because goes to Impervious twice, and he can only do a 1 damage max with Impervious. So that's not terrible, but yeah, you're right. You have to watch your fodder, like everything else that you've got backing her up. Can they protect themselves, and can you just throw Witch Queen out there to act as a, like, come at me, you can't ignore me, and then hope that he misses because he doesn't have the insane stats. He just has his normal stats. So I think her trait is what makes her somewhat more viable, but yeah, it is. Vulture's still scary, of course, but...
Right. And there's also the option where, like, Unthemed is probably okay with her.
Oh, yes.
But you're looking at, Witch Queen, Galactus, Lockjaw, and that's 250. So that doesn't leave you with much else either.
But that might be okay if you're worried about Vulture, though. I mean, if you're concerned, then those are good. Like, that's fine for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. So I think the other big baddie in this set would have been Gauntlet Panther.
We're not going to talk about Nick the Fury?
No, Nick the Fury's not worth talking about. Neither is Battle World Thanos.
Or Destroyer Thor.
No. No.
Almost
there.
Destroyer Thor deals penetrating.
Yeah, but he doesn't get reduced as penetrating either. I mean, you're talking about just mediocre stats for the points, mediocre range.
We're talking about the prime, right?
Yeah.
12, 19, 4. That's not mediocre,
For 220 points it is. And again, he's a giant, can't be equipped.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's playable or super viable. So yeah, I guess I agree.
Yeah. So 150 Panther. 150 Panther. Is 150 Panther just outclassed now by the new stuff?
I almost think 250 Panther is just way better than 150. I've never been a big fan of 150 Panther.
What do you think, Jason?
He just joined back.
He just joined back, and he's got his camera on now.
Yeah, I don't even know how to turn it off. Like,
there's an option at the bottom.
Okay.
Jason, we were talking about Chase Black Panther, Gauntlet Black Panther.
Oh, yes.
Do you think he's still viable at 150, or is he outclassed now?
I don't know. I haven't tried to build him in quite some time. I didn't play him at 150. I never liked him at 150 anyway. I always played him at 250.
Yeah, I mean, I do like it I do like the 150. I do like his dial at either one being protected pulse wave.
Yes, that's nice. But I still think I always played him at 250 points. I feel that's where he's his best.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think at 150 you can probably do something better.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of options, but I think it's just and I think it's almost I think it's just he just doesn't have enough going for him. He has a lot of cool powers, but some of them are just, you get to click 3, his running shot pulse wave is just 9, 10 attack for 4. 4 is good, but 10 attack's not. And it just takes 1 4 damage, pen psi, and hope he doesn't roll super senses, and he's gone.
I feel like he's better at 250, and he's like more of a point denial type piece.
Yeah, so I think I do have a little bit of a build for him. And I think it's really probably pretty simple here. 250 Panther, 2 Marvellas, Soul Gem, Carnage Symbiote.
Okay.
So are you? So why do you have both objects? Who's equipping the other one?
Just in case one gets stolen. I don't think this might not be the end all be all, right?
Right.
But so it comes down to what is the most consistent way to heal Tentpoles. That's going to be Carnage Symbiote and Soul Gem. And and
I like the Carnage Symbiote on it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be at least in this case, if they roll a 2 or a 1 on their Mary Janes, they're not going to destroy both objects. So you can keep Black Panther healed pretty consistently. Because if Panther can get off of his stop clicks and get back onto his bigger clicks, his 1 through 6, then he's nearly impossible to kill in 45 minutes, or 45 to 55 minutes.
Yeah. I played him with the corrupt cop, and that was, I thought was great. If they can't take him down, if they can't chew through him, yeah.
That's right.
There's no way they're going to score any points. Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm with you. 250 Panther. The corrupt cop did retire though, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
As Harley Quinn.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you just want to roll, I mean, theme team is hard. in general, I think, with him. But if I had to go theme team at 250, you're probably looking at Ruler and doing 25-point Magneto, the one from Xtaz, and then a Gorilla Grodd, and I'm going to say Soul Gem over Carnage Symbiote. Because you don't care if you're killing something necessarily, because you just want to keep getting above the stock clicks.
I think for him, 100% Carnage Symbiote, and the reason being is
the double rollouts is nice.
Yeah, Vulture's the main reason. I want a shape change against Vulture, because if he keeps attacking me and I hit one, then he's done. He's dead. Because he's going to be trying to whale all of his flurries. He's going to take out Magneto, Grodd, or whatever else, and he's going to be like, all right, I've got like 7 attacks to try to get through your whole dial. And he could if I'm really unlucky, but he won't if I have shape change. Well, much less likely with shape change, because I just got to hit one of those, and he's done for the rest of the turn.
Yeah, so, you have 3 chances to roll out on top dial that way.
Yeah, so I think in a non-Vulture world, I would lean more Soul Gem. But since Vulture's here, I probably lean more Carnage Symbiote, because I like the shape change, and I like not being... The plasticity helps also. I know he's got flight and hypersonic top dial, but plasticity still helps, especially if they're trying to run away, and you're like, no, stop running away.
Yes. Well, I guess instead of the Garage, you could do the green Proteus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does help.
So Magneto can equip, and then, Rare Proteus can generate some blocking terrain. It's not super Batman proof, but like Batman is also not a huge consideration at the moment. So, not everything's going to be perfect.
I think my biggest problem with him has just been that he's just not as offensive as you'd want him to be for that many points.
It takes some setup to be really offensive, and at that point, it's a lot of risk. Like, to pump him up to where he's like dealing a ton of damage, it's like, that's turn 2 or like turn 3, and by then, they've probably already have their setup to annoy Batman. So.
No, that's with you. I'm with you there. But like, we also haven't tried him with the Carnage Symbiote either.
That's true.
Maybe that's because and I don't even think we really even tried him very much with the Soul Gem. He kind of had his heyday there for a minute with the Venom Symbiote, but between Soul Gem and Carnage Symbiote, we may not have put in a lot of effort into him at this time. So,
what are we talking about?
Black Panther still.
Okay. We talked about Batman. We talked about Batman, and I was like, hold on, why are we putting Soul Gem on Batman?
We're not talking about No, we're not. So,
he was talking about Batman killing off the support.
So. Right.
That is interesting, because we have not tried 250 Panther, post-ID cards, post-Carnage Symbiote.
It's like, what's the other 40 points?
Yeah. That's the question.
Yeah.
But I think it's got to be Carnage Symbiote. So it's with the other. That's 40. You did say 40. I don't know.
You do
maybe just a little bit of theme. Maybe the theme is there just to try to go first against Vulture.
If you fluff him without a lot of figures that could die, you don't really care about Vulture at that point. Like, play him. If you just play him and Danger Room Sinister, non-theme, just to have some outwit or some other things. What are they going to do?
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good.
Ooh, that's your new corrupt cop, Jason.
Yeah, I like
hold
that.
on. Does the
Sister has phasing and sidestep, so he could pick up the object. Now, it's not theme. It's not theme, so you do run the risk of Someone stealing your symbiote.
Well, Corrupt Cop wasn't either, so yeah.
You do, but you should be able to, with reliability, go in and kill Mary Jane. Obviously with a double tap, right? Because you kill her, then you kill the thing that comes out afterwards. The, what's it called? Secret Identity.
Yeah.
But I'm not hating this idea.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm not
think
either.
I
I'm
think
liking it.
Can we agree? I mean, I think Dan's outvoted in this, but 150 Panther, I just don't think is there. So
No,
I
don't
No.
think he's that much there either. I think he's outclassed at 150 with the other Tentpoles that we have.
So we think
I think he's
250.
always died too fast.
Yeah, so 250 though we're putting back on the table. We're saying maybe there's something there.
Because, and then again, over Galactus in this example is that he can be equipped, and he does have a way to heal himself, and he has the multiple stops.
Right. Now, the one downside is if they get you to the stop click, well, the Carnage Symbiote is only there for shape change and plasticity at that point, because he can't heal once he gets to those stop clicks.
Yeah.
But
That's
that's
true.
worst case scenario. So.
But it does give you something. At least it gives you another rollout when you get down there.
Yeah, it gives you another rollout.
Yep. Super sensitive shape change with a 19 defense up close is still hard to take out.
I think I said earlier that is if you could heal him off of his top clicks. So I guess I forgot that he couldn't be healed off his top clicks.
I don't remember you saying that. So that's fine.
Maybe I did. So maybe if you're fighting against someone that has one of those like Karima or something that turns off your stop clicks, turns off that power. So
Juggernaut, go against Juggernaut or something.
Juggernaut.
Yeah, go against Juggernaut. You just heal above it, and you're like, Juggernaut. Then you knock Juggernaut off of that special power, and you heal above it.
Yeah, but I don't think his stop clicks aren't enough to not want to do this. The Carnage Symbiote, like you're hoping you never get to click 7, and if you play it right, you shouldn't.
Yeah,
that's right. You just have to be careful that once you take damage, like let's just say you take a 4 hit, right, and you go into running shot, pulse wave, you are stuck on that click to heal. Yep. Because if you click him to another click, then heal, then you click back, you don't take the benefits of the healing.
And you got to be able to. He's one of those pieces that you have to be able to remain calm, because if you get hit to click 7, some players are very likely to say, "Well, that's game," because I'm just down to stop clicks. I've got charge flurry and he's one that you could still manage because every time you pop out the two zombie warriors and they're okay, but he's not dead. You could still manage because they still have to get through his 2 other stop clicks. Like he's got 3 stop clicks, so
that's right.
It's not
he's going to end up on a point, so
yeah.
So all right, 250 back on the table. I'm down. So let's see. Captain Marvel movie. I'm going to say the chase is not on the table.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right. No protection from pulse wave. No reducing penetrating damage.
She can't. She could be Galactus though.
But no, I'm just saying, like with pulse wave, no Psyblast protection, right? And if you Galactus her, then she doesn't have a rollout or a way to heal herself.
She starts with Invincible, so
But
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, you save your Psyblast for after you hit her for 2 the first time.
She's a tough one because she's one that's. Like, I feel like we're almost doing, like, the tier list, right? Like, for me, with Captain Marvel and kind of with Black Panther, it's like, okay, they're obviously not top tier. Oh, yes, this Tentpole is back, baby. it's one of those like, does she need some testing to see if she could be back now that Black Widow wasn't ever her issue, but does she? Because she has the 2 attacks. I mean, she has the running shot, and when she uses it after resolution, she could charge at no cost. Just can't target the same character. So that's 2 attacks. That's good. She has the superpower dial, but yeah, of course it's hypersonic pulse wave, which sucks. But she's protected outwit and pulse wave on that one. So I mean, it's I don't know. I think if you equipped her with Galactus, she might be test worthy, but that's about as high as I would really put her, is because she hasn't been made a splash yet. So
right, and her time is running short.
Yep. Potentially.
I know that there's talks of not retirement, maybe not happening, but still, I mean, for this we have to assume that it is. So.
Yeah, she does have the Avengers Initiative, great team abilities, so that helps. I think it's just she's only playable with Galactus, and to be perfectly honest, I feel like Galactus has just not been vetted enough in general. Like, no one's playing him. Is he really that bad?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Exactly, and I think that's the problem with some of these. Is like we could put him on a Galactus tier. Like, Witch Queen LeFay, Galactus tier. Captain Marvel, Galactus tier. Like, they're only good with Galactus, and even that's a question mark. But
are people not playing Galactus because games don't last long enough for him to do what he does?
Potentially.
I think it's partially that, and it's just we haven't had enough games since he came out. Mm-hmm. He wasn't legal for National or Worlds, I don't think. So, or the Rock Online World. So it's like we haven't had major tournaments since then. I've seen him played once or twice in some of the online Winamaps, but he's a lot of points, but like 25 points, but you don't have to worry about him being stolen. I think he hasn't been vetted enough in tournaments. People have been practicing, but maybe he just does too much for people to be comfortable with the points. He's kind of weird, if that makes sense. So,
yeah.
Yep.
All right. He's underrated right now, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Galactus. This one call it Galactus tier.
Yeah, Galactus tier.
All right, so Rebirth.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so this one comes down to probably not Black Adam at 200.
Right, because Black Adam was never viable at 200. He was only viable at 100, and at that point,
that was an ID card battery.
Yes, that was as an ID card battery, and even if you didn't use him as that, he's 100 points he isn't Tentpole worthy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's right. Too short a dial at 100. Murder Machine just has not made a splash at 200. Neither have any of the other chases. And at 100, the Murder Machine's not Tentpole worthy either, I don't think.
Now, do we start looking at Barbatos?
Barbatos is hard because he's a giant.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have a way to heal himself until the very end, and then he's a 10 attack, which is hard.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have great keywords and not a lot of great ways to support him. So I don't think so.
Do you think he's more playable at 100, so not Tentpole, or is that even worse?
That's got to be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
10 attack for 100 points is just not worth it.
So we're saying basically all the Dark Knight chases just aren't quite there.
No, not yet. Not really.
Yeah.
I think the closest one for me is maybe Red Death is just really expensive at 200, but I like him. But I still don't think he's viable just because stupid Colossal Retails. If Colossal Retail could go away, then these type of speedsters could actually do something.
Right.
Like, it sucks, like, hypersonic, I punch you, run away, and there's a giant Dark Phoenix on me. Great.
Yeah.
Like, so.
That retails on you, then does a regular attack on you. Yeah, all sucks. So that takes us to ABPI. A really fantastic set that is still holding up. And man, so like, I want to mention. I'm going to go. There's one before this on the set list. One that I wish was better. Challenger. Not that he's not that great. I'm not gonna. I wished he was better though. I think that he would have been better if maybe he had Battle Fury. Because mind control was always his weakness. Because you moved him away. You moved him away from the pyramid markers and then lit him up.
So do we want to, like, he's a good example of, are we just going to throw out every quote-unquote tentpole type person that only has charge as his move and attack?
I'm not going to say that emphatically early because I don't know all the other ones yet.
Right. But like a majority of them, like if we don't name someone that was over 150 points, because we skipped like Odin and a few other pieces, but that was mostly because it's a charge piece. They have range, sure, but charge as a tentpole in general is not great unless they have something amazing with it, like Juggernaut. I get it.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Juggernaut's probably the only one then at this point.
Right, but Challenger is, 7 range, sure, but he's got a 13 speed charge, which I know that's a high number, but that's still pretty low, 7 movement, and he has to punch. So it's like,
that's right.
Like I think that's
be
why
a TKer.
Right, and so that adds to the point cost. Like,
and then the TKer puts him out of the range most likely of his pyramid markers and pyramoid markers or whatever. So
right. So if we don't talk about a specific, if people are listening waiting for their favorite tentpole like Odin or Loki, which is next, which we'll probably skip. It's because they just don't have the generic move and attack you need for a tentpole. Like, they have to be somewhat movable unless they have some crazy power that makes him just, that doesn't matter anymore, that he doesn't have a good move and attack.
That's right.
So would a charge piece just have to be a lot cheaper, basically? Like 125 or less or something?
Probably so. Yeah, I mean, they have to be like Vulture.
Or, ignore characters, I think, is a requirement. Right. You don't want to charge and get stuck. Or they have to have, 4 attacks. Like, I know Challenger later gets his thing where he gets free once per game, make up to 4 attacks, closer range. Like, that's cool, but that's his stock click. Like, that's endgame. And you're probably never firing that off. But if you have someone that's, traded charge, or has charge, traded flurry, and giant reach 3, maybe, but if it's just hey, charge quake.
That's why that one Spider-Man piece is doing so well.
Doppelganger?
Yeah, because it has those things like charge, flurry, giant reach 3. I think that's just your excuse to bring up Doppelganger.
Of course.
I'm kidding. So this comes back to someone asked in the group, I think. Well, maybe it was in our George Ong asked, will Kovacsy play again due to the good tentpoles? And I don't think so. She doesn't do enough without ID cards being around.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. The blue cube, that's tricky. I think that's
it just
honestly
depends.
tricky.
I mean, if the rest of the support goes away, right? If you just destroy the rest of her support, then she's just useless.
I mean, she's a mind control, 2-target mind control. That's not terrible. She has great support powers.
Yeah,
I mean, she's not.
I don't see it.
I mean, is it time to look back at her and look at the whole rewrite history? Like, is there? I haven't done that in a long time, and I'm not saying we do that now, but I'm not willing to throw Kobik out, but she's definitely not a tentpole. So
Yeah, she's definitely not a tentpole, no.
But I think
maybe that's a good topic for another episode, though.
Exactly. I think so. I think it could be just a simple, hey, we did the research, and no. Like,
I'm good with saying we could table her for another show.
Yeah, I'd like to
get most likely not a tentpole as we're defining it for this episode.
Now we went. Tyler would be upset if we skipped the tentpole.
Well, I mean, you kind of skipped ahead on me with Kobik, but yeah, I was going to at least mention Red Skull.
Red Skull.
You're the one that said Kobik. Just saying.
I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know.
I was gonna bring him up, so it's okay.
Red Skull, man.
I like Red Skull.
Red Skull.
He's viable.
Red Skull with the blue cube.
Yeah, I think Red Skull, blue cube, and now that we have that whatchamacallit, the location bonus that allows you to succeed on a leadership, I'm not bad about that. I think he's good.
Yeah.
185. I think. Well, he suffered from the fact that he didn't have great keywords, and because Soldier was really the only buildable one. But now he could be on with anybody because of the Spider-Man family.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
And he running shot, pulse wave. Sure, he's got the cosmic cube is always good. 200 points is a little much because you're obviously paying for the cosmic cube. But since we've got so many low point figures, 50 points for 1776, and then you could play some Mary Janes maybe, or some others, Marvella. I definitely wouldn't write him out. I would say he's definitely testable, could be playable. It just really depends on. Just depends on how you do with your leaderships and how you build around them.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So you're probably looking at this guy at 200, 1776, 2 Marvellas. That puts you at 280. The map bonus puts you at 285.
You equip him with something?
No, he comes equipped with the cube.
Duh.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
The cube.
The map bonus puts you at 285, and then probably a Mary Jane, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that math all works out pretty well.
Yeah, unless you go. Now, remember in PJ's tournament, you could always go non-theme and play that Wesley. But at that point, the location bonus doesn't really help you. But that Wesley Crusher that allows you to re-roll your leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Ensign Crusher.
Or Ensign, thank you, Ensign Crusher. I feel like you can't build the team with Red Skull purely around his super awesome leadership power. I feel you have to build with a better chance, but don't go all in on that. You have to prepare as if you're not going to hit it. Or that they don't have action tokens, because that's the other thing I had to do.
Yeah, that they can just not put action tokens on their characters.
Yeah.
So, Chase Iron Man's not very viable. I've wanted Chase Captain America to be viable, but I think he's just too many points versus the offensive capabilities that he has.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's relying on the gauntlet too much. The gauntlet's not. I think if the gauntlet was better, he might have been better. But the gauntlets weren't good enough for him. Because he already had protected pulse wave, right? And he only took 1 damage at a time. So the protected gauntlet with wasn't that good enough. And then the other one that he picks powers with could damage him, and he can't heal, so all of that kind of sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's just not there. He doesn't do enough to be a Tentpole. He's one of those borderline can't kill, hard to kill pieces, don't die. He's like very borderline, but too expensive to really make that type of thing work.
That's right. Yeah, maybe for about 30, 40 points less. So that leaves us with Ultra Chase Thanos in the set.
That's tricky.
I think what keeps holding him back right now is the Mystics. I think if there was anything that maybe knocks him down a skosh for me, is going to be the Mystics. And then the improved movement, and then the improved targeting. But now he has everything else going for him. Ability to keep himself healed, good stats, long dial. It's all there, right? And, this guy plus the Soul Gem with his Ego Gem, manipulating his dial off of Clix 2 and 3, routinely puts him at a 21 defense. Which is not for nothing. But I think if you can't recover with him, then he's not long for the world.
I think he relies a lot. He's a TK piece. You need someone to TK him because he's stuck just with sidestep. You don't get anything else until he's down dial, which you hope you never get there. So He relies on TK, so that means you have to have a TK piece with him. So that raises his point cost. But he's only 160, 170 if you include the Soul Gem. So I don't know. Are we just down on him because he saw some play, but then Kobik Trader was during that time, and that kind of shut him down a bit. And then we got the Dark Phoenixes, and that shut him down a little bit. Like, he might warrant just another look at.
Right. Yeah. No, I think he's in the warrant and the new look power and the new look at things, but there's just a lot of competition, right? And I think as we get into some of these newer ones like Emperor Vulcan, I think I like him a lot coming up here. I know I've mentioned him, but a big pulse waver is scary to a lot of these Tentpoles that don't have the protection.
I mean, considering
so far in the second look category, 250 Panther still is above Ultra Chase Thanos here.
Now, how much do we want to equate the fact Thanos has fallen, also based on the fact that Cosmic has fallen so far?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Cosmic, because of Groot and all the other cool pieces you had, Floras, you could build around Cosmic easy, but you can't do that with Thanos nearly as much.
That's right. And Cosmic doesn't have the leadership anymore, right? That's what made the God Doom versions, I think, a little bit better, is that they do have God Doom does have leadership. So
yeah, but I think his attack power. I know he only gets it on click. Gets it starting on click 2. I mean, that's pretty dangerous in today's game. I mean, we get a lot of he's a Mary Jane killer essentially.
Well, no, he's not.
If you could get a shot around the paparazzi.
No. The problem is that it's when Thanos KOs a character. He gets the free attack, but he doesn't qualify for him KOing and healing off of that.
Oh, you're saying because of her secret identity.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Okay, I get it. Yeah, he's testable, but you're right. I think Cosmic is no longer a top 10 keyword in my books.
Well, yeah, it's higher than top 10, but
I think that's another good episode to talk about. Is What are the top 10 keywords? Because I'm wondering if we can name better keywords than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Is like people are forgetting that Q Prime and a lot of other things still exist. I mean, there's a lot of hotness right now with 1776 getting errated. So it just comes down to who's playing it, how well they can play it, and that sort of thing. That matters, and dice rolls. That matters more than anything right now, I think, with a lot of the good players and good teams.
Hey, great segue. Speaking of Q Prime, is that the next piece? I don't know. I assumed we're skipping Regenesis.
Yeah, we are skipping Regenesis. And then that does put us into Trek, which is the Qs, but they're not viable at their big dials, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no stop clicks. Yeah. It's just super senses, right? So if 175Q or even the other Qs take a big hit, they're just done for.
Fair.
Maybe if they had some other things going for them, but no. I don't see it. That takes us to XDPS.
Goodness.
We
got a couple in here.
I don't know, but is there anything worth talking about at the tentpole level?
Well, I mean, we could talk about like why we say it's not a tentpole for all those that are thinking about it, because you think of X-Men, and I obviously don't want to take up too much time on this, but X-Men, you got all the colossals, and some people think colossal, big numbers, big high points, could be a tentpole, like Nimrod at 275.
Right. So let's just run through a couple of them here. So Cassandra Nova just doesn't do enough. I think that's about the only one in the non-big category.
Yeah.
That was even much over 100 points in the single base category, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so that's about it.
The big ones, right? I think I'll just start with my opinion. Like Jason mentioned Stealth Sentinel. We'll work down the list. It honestly becomes too hard to manipulate in between the dials, I think.
Yeah. He's very finesse.
He's too finessey.
Doesn't mean though someone couldn't figure him out and be amazing at him. But that's like a lot of hours you're going to have to put in to know exactly when to switch between the two dials.
Right. But then you still run into no improved targeting. Great stats.
Well, he has some improved targeting, right? Because he's a colossal.
Well, no, I'm just saying for range he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like he can't just like that's a problem with
he sees through smaller characters.
Yeah. His healing ability is good, right? Because he can go to the other dial and then heal.
Yeah, he makes up for the fact that you can't equip him.
That's right. But I think the only thing for him is, again, it's too finessey. Would be what I would be leaving it with. I think he could be viable if somebody put practice into him. I mean, he's got stealth. He's got stealth on his big dial and free smoke cloud. Those are always good things.
A robot. I mean, being a robot keyword that opens. There's a lot of low point robots.
That's right. I mean, Penny, a couple Marvellas, Mary Jane.
Or even just the Danger Room figures. If you just want to go more attacky, you could throw Magneto and Sinister out there and then give Magneto or give them both a ring. And that puts you right at 300 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's
not terrible. That's not terrible.
It's not. No,
it's hard to gain points for him.
So I wonder. So I think if I'm just sitting here thinking about it, if you fit somebody on with Stealth Sentinel that's an actual yellow support power, his stats, defense ability, his defense stat is so low on his attack dial that might actually help him.
You can't heal him, though.
Oh, that's right.
His power says
healed.
His trait is the only. Trait. Yeah, the trait's the only way he can heal.
Well, never mind then. It's a harder and harder sell for me here.
I think the Danger Room is the only thing to me, and I know I'm a little. I favor the Danger Room figures, but
yeah,
I think that's the only real team outside of maybe some other little robots that you could throw on there with him. But 200-point Stealth Sentinel isn't bad. Like, he would be on my test. I don't think I would say, no, he's garbage. I think, looking at his dial, if you can finesse and see how hard it is to switch between the two, I don't think it's terrible. It's like shifting focus, almost.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, Nimrod at 275 or at 175 is probably a no-go for me.
Now, is that from personal experience, Dan?
I played Nimrod.
No, I know. We were there.
Well, no, I played him. I've tested him.
Yeah, that's hurt.
Too.
Yeah.
I'm just recollecting Worlds.
The
T Worlds where you had to play him at 275, and I remember he was not your favorite character by the end of the tournament for sure.
No, no, he wasn't. No. It's too much luck of those dice.
Yeah.
Is Onslaught? Would you consider Onslaught a tentpole?
I think no. Because... Go ahead.
I was going to say no because you typically play two of them.
Well, Onslaught, no, because... No, I mean, just his dial is too short. He's more of a glass cannon.
Like I feel like I've seen more two Onslaught teams than one. Because I put you at 250.
Online.
Yeah.
I mean, like the monster versions just have a lot of vulture issues.
I like the armor of Punisher War Machine with him.
Yeah, the armor version's really nice.
I enjoyed that.
But then you're building more of a well-rounded team than more of a tentpole team.
Fair enough.
And then I want to say no to Juggernaut because the little Juggernaut is just so much better.
I think that almost does it.
I think that's it. Yeah. Extra XCPS.
Jumping what to Captain America?
Yeah, I mean, because nothing in WWE is tentpole. Orville, no. CAAV, yeah. I'm just looking here again. I'm not feeling tentpoles in this set in Captain America. I mean, I guess by the time
points.
Not until we get all the way down to Ultron, right, Alex?
Well, okay. Here's the question then. You mentioned God Doom as 100-point. Do you consider Immortal Hulk to be a tentpole?
No, because you're building
around him. I feel like you do build around him.
Not really. It's not an Immortal Hulk team.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, I mean, because I played him in the Mafia event back in the summer, and the team was him, the two Danger Room figures, Ace, and it felt more like the Danger Room figures were there to kind of disrupt while you got Immortal Hulk online, and he was kind of like I consider him more of a tentpole than I do God Emperor Doom, just because I think of it as how much of the team am I putting in for Immortal Hulk, to keep him online, to keep him going. So he's borderline, I guess, for me. Like, I consider him like, okay, I'm putting in perplexes, leaderships, or ace is a prop for him. Like, I consider him almost a temp. But that's just me personally.
Yeah, but he's also a Tentpole with charge, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but he could charge at no cost, too. Like, the whole Vengeance tokens is kind of a...
Yeah, but I think he
deal.
falls down. He's fallen down so much because people have figured out how to play around the Vengeance tokens.
Yeah. Positioning is really difficult.
Positioning is really difficult. You know, you're susceptible to the pinch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the Hulk. His breakaway is hard, right? He can get locked down by paparazzis. You know, I don't know. I think he's fine, right? He's still powerful. I just did never particularly care for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, probably Ultron then is your next big tentpole. That 14 attack with that power creep, right?
Yeah, I still think he hacks it, man. Like, the one click of running shot kills it for me.
Okay,
yeah,
but now we haven't tested Ultron since Black Widow got nerfed either.
Like he falls into the Galactus tier.
I tend to agree with that, but I do like him I do like Masters of Evil because that's colossal stamina now, right? I do like Soul Gem, Masters of Evil situations. I do like any colossal stamina as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem I had with him is that he is outwittable. You could just say, all right, I'm going to take out that invincible. Sure, you got the stop clicks I have to go through, but like I could take away running shot and you're just stuck there. So Galactus helps with that and potentially gives him other, like, I haven't tested Ultron Herald of Galactus. So I would put him in the Galactus tier where right now he's not, I don't think he's good enough. 3 stop clicks is great though. I mean, it's really hard to say no to 3 stop clicks.
Yeah, that's right. Or even Carnage symbiote, right? In this situation,
right?
Although I think that he falls into you want to be able to keep him because he is so fragile in your outwittable sense that any sort of heal for him is better than a rollout.
Yeah. So that's
it's a fine line there that requires testing, but you know, him just being able to heal once, right, is going to be a big deterrent because you're going to have to hit him to the stop click. Then he's got impervious. Then he's got a +1 defense. You know, because you're talking about if they knock him to his stop, and that's all they can do that turn, then you wound something with the soul gem. You go up onto the 18, you've got a 19, you perplex it up to a 20. Now, 20 is not an end-all be-all, right? But it's that continual situation where, you know, Black Widow's not stripping all this stuff away now, and as many times, and you know, because when he came out, right, we were like, oh, 14 attack, but if you crit miss, you're done.
Yeah, he's definitely something that needs another look. He did not give. We didn't have any tournaments. He came out right when COVID was really starting to get going in February into March, so no one really got to play him. And then, you know, everyone rushed the Target to go get the Black Widow because that was like the new set people could actually get. So it's like we didn't ever really get to see Ultron, outside of some events, really shine at 150. Everybody's played him at 50. So
well, I would say that Black Widow hurt him too much.
I mean, I guess.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
He's one of those few figures, though, that her outwit power does. I mean, her general outwit hurts him, but her whole no special powers thing doesn't hurt him.
No, it does. Well, because he doesn't get the impervious on the stop clicks.
Right, but I'm saying, like, he still gets all the powers on his dial, is what I meant. Like,
yeah, no, I'm with you.
Like, that was the problem with some Tentpoles, is that she was like, haha, half of your powers are on special powers or traits, so you don't get any of those.
I am excited. I am excited about this Ultron coming back, Alex. I like this.
I need to try it. I haven't honestly thought about it because of the figures we're probably about to talk about soon. So I need to put him back on my radar because I have one, and he is my favorite, probably my favorite figure from that set.
Yeah, and you're talking about, robot, obviously, with Penny, but you're also talking about Spider Pharaoh or just general robot stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of options now. He could be Spider-Man family, and you could put him with a bunch. He could be like your Punisher War Machine, essentially.
That's right, man. I'm digging some of this talk tonight. I mean, if y'all can't hear it from me, because the Black Widow change, the 1776 change, and the new Carnage symbiote really, kind of gets me going here, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Will we jump into JLU now?
Yeah. So I mean, Black Widow movie.
Or do we want to talk about
Surfer
or Doom or Surfer from the Cosmic Clash?
I don't. Surfer doesn't have any stop clicks. Doesn't have any way to keep himself healed, right?
Yeah.
Doom, I think it's just outclassed. Again, I don't know. I know I've said that a lot, but I mean, it is true. I mean, Doom does get outclassed here quite a bit. No rollouts.
But he could be equipped. I think his biggest thing is his main attack is reliant on energy explosion, and that's generally not a good thing. Even though he's got 3 targets, but even that, having a cool power reliant on energy explosion just doesn't feel good for a Tentpole. It feels good for lower point figures, but not like your main dude going in there and be like, yeah, I'm doing 2 damage to everyone, and everyone gets an action token. Like, that's cool, but that's all he does.
But it's not your 200-point piece.
Right.
That's right. So, JLU, is there anyone in the set to talk about, but still, at this point, besides Darkseid?
Amazo?
No.
Maybe 295 Amazo. Nah. He's a really Tentpole. He's a one-man army, though.
Yeah, 295 Amazo is definitely a one-man army. 290.
125 Amazo?
The
common?
Oh. Maybe not because of Ultron.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Common Amazo can be a Herald? I think he can, because his thing is he's not a non-standard. He is standard. He just can't be healed, equipped, or chosen for Mastermind. But Galactus...
That's right, yeah. He can be a Galactus, right, yeah.
Yeah, because Galactus isn't technically equipment. So he could be Galactus, a Herald. So I would almost, for that point, say he might go on my Galactus tier, just because I'm afraid to write anything off that I haven't actually tested with Galactus. That's the only thing. Because with the team-up cards and Galactus giving additional powers for his whole invincible android body, and the fact that Black Widow is nerfed a bit, because that was his big thing, was Black Widow makes him pointless. So if she's not seeing as much play, maybe 125 isn't that bad. I think it's probably not good, but I think for me, it's like, how does Galactus work with him? Is it enough to make it work? I'm leaning towards no, but I would probably still put him on the, hey, let's play it once and let me see.
That's right, yeah. So I would say he goes on Galactus tier, but probably sub-Ultron tier at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Darkseid?
I mean, he's got to go up there, right? He's viable now.
He has been viable, but the problem with him is Marvella and Barrier. But I think with being able to do Spider, Pharaoh, Waldo Arms, and just that's about it. And the Magneto, you know.
So let me ask you this.
Maybe.
Let me ask you this, and this might be going a little too much into Galactus again. But have we tested? I mean, like Jason was saying, does it take too long for his elemental dial thing to happen?
I think so.
Because to me, when I'm thinking of someone's just burying up, I'm thinking, okay, well, Galactus should technically help with that because the elemental thing will make him move at least a little bit. I know Marvella has sidestep and whatnot, but still.
The problem is that like a lot of the teams, right? Like so, like the hard Barkley teams, yeah, maybe, but like most of the time, these Marvella teams only have enough barrier to just get them rolling, right? To sidestep up a little bit to give them a little TK range, but you know the big thing was Darkseid, which just became unplayable because of Widow, and I mean I shut out Matt Esbrook in back-to-back events with just Widow and a Chewie.
Yeah.
And you know, with a little bit of Mastermind, you know, a little bit of Mary Jane.
The figure.
Yeah. Or maybe the actual Mary Jane, if you so partake in is legal in your area. Maybe that's what it takes to play a little bit of Darkseid.
Yeah. That might be what you're left with. He's definitely, I think he's still playable. Like, even though Marvella is a thing, if maybe that you play him in Richter or whatever his name is, the one that could help remove blocking or something like that, like, or just play him. What's his face is still legal, right? Kirk Uhura?
Yeah.
Like there's still ways to get around it, and I think he's still too good. 200 feels like a good point value, because 100 points of support is still pretty good. So I think he's definitely still in the, maybe not the toppest tier, but still pretty good. Like, still up there.
Yeah. I agree with you. So it puts us on to Fantastic Four.
There's not a lot of Tentpoles in this set either.
No, not really. I mean,
no.
Super Scroll I just don't quite think is good enough at 100, but he feels more like a team player anyways at 50.
We like him as a swarm as opposed to just one Super Scroll.
Yeah. Now, I do want to talk about my team that I've been working on that is God Doom at 100 as a Tentpole. But it's a little bit more control than anything. So you've got God Doom at 100. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I was reading somebody else's team. God Doom at 100. Collector, Reality Gem, Carnage Symbiote, Mr. Oz, Q, and 2 Dark Phoenixes. So I think I'm right there on the minimum line of something that's playing God Doom as a Tentpole. I mean, it's barely on the minimum line, but you've got 3 ways to heal God Doom when he gets on his stop clicks. You know, you're doing the control with Q and Collector to slow down Vulture by stealing his arms. You're got the Dark Phoenixes for backup. It does have a pretty bad Batman matchup. But I think he does a good matchup versus everything else. Doom brings the perplex. He brings the ways to heal himself. He brings the leadership. He has top down prop. He has good stats. He has good range. He has multiple stop clicks. Like, I think he's everything that's in a good Tentpole. He's just way undercosted at 100 points. The same argument that I gave to Alex, I'll talk about on the podcast. Uni was 60 to 65 more points, not including the object, didn't have as many ways to heal, had similar stats, only had 2 more clicks of health and 1 less stop click. And we're not even talking about the fact that he shuts off equipment on opposing characters too. Yeah. He's got the improved movement of flight. He can shoot out of adjacency. He can do improved targeting, hindering. He feels very uni-like if you play him in that sort of sense. And in this case, right, like I played Uni Collector Oz to top 16 of Nats in 2019 and then just gave up the ghost because I played bad. Now, God Doom Collector Oz, then you get to add, 60 more points worth of stuff in a Dark Phoenix, in a Q. I don't know. That seems pretty good to me. But he definitely plays like a Tentpole.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe Juggernaut makes him unplayable, like Tyler's telling me, but so maybe it's only applicable for me because Tyler's going to play Juggernaut every time he can for the rest of eternity, rightfully so. But
I don't know. It's just to me. I know you tried to. I mean, I know you mentioned that he is like you're comparing him to Uni because of the point cost and how they both take essentially 3 hits to take out. But I don't know. I just don't feel like he does enough damage, if that makes sense. I know he's got running shot, pulse wave for 4, but Uni can take that bad boy up to 6 or whatever. So to me, but I know Uni was a lot more points. It's just to me like I feel like God Emperor Doom is amazing at 100 points. He just doesn't feel like a Tentpole to me. Like it just feels like you have him, but you don't go all in on God Emperor Doom. You go like him and a secondary attacker, and you go all in on both, if that makes sense. Like that's how I would play him. I would play him and I don't know. It's Armor, Cosmic, Ruler, Scientist, Mystical. Like he's got amazing keywords, so I can go with practically anyone. I know, Jason, you played him with Spider-Man.
Yep.
And so, like, the way you played him,
Spider-Man
Jason...
from Captain America.
Yeah, I don't consider the way you played him, Jason, you were playing him as a Tentpole. Do you feel differently?
I don't know. He kind of felt like a Tentpole. Like he was like definitely my main offensive character and like probably the main focus of my team. I don't know. I felt like he was kind of like a Tentpole. Everybody else was just kind of secondary to him and supporting him. Spider-Man was definitely my secondary attacker, harasser. But if I don't know that if I lost Doom, that was necessarily just the game was over because he died. I think I still had enough other stuff that the team could carry on without him. But I don't know. He felt like a Tentpole when I played him.
Okay. I mean,
just the kind of stuff he can do.
So before we round out, I was getting him
up there where he could like pulse wave for like 7.
Yeah, because you're playing him with Valeria Richards and
Valeria Von Doom.
Yeah. I mean, okay, maybe you guys might be winning me over. It just doesn't feel great, but I could see your arguments that he could be a Tentpole. It just doesn't feel. I don't know. Just doesn't feel comfortable to me, but I get it.
Yeah. All right. So before we go into House of X, anything from WizKids DC or Marvel cons And I'm going to
So
say
we're not
no.
gonna talk about any in Carnage. There's no Carnage figures.
Null.
But what do you know? Null also has Charge, as does Absolute Carnage.
Oh,
And Red Goblin.
I guess I was just skipping Carnage because of all the other good stuff in the set. Like, there's no... Yeah, everything's just a team player to me in this set.
Yeah, the problem with the bigger figures in this set, like the Beef Boys, Absolute Carnage, Null, who's the other one? I already said Absolute Carnage. Red Goblin. The problem is that they all start with Charge. Like they got cool powers. Absolute Carnage is probably the closest.
Yeah, Absolute Carnage, but he gets played at 60 because he's got the Flurry, Giant Reach, and Charge. I mean, he's moving a bunch of squares.
Yeah, it's tricky because once again, this set hasn't seen a ton of play because these type of figures need a little bit more finesse and more time as opposed to your Mary Janes, your doppelgangers, your other figures from this set that are just like plug and play and go. I don't see any of these really becoming major tent poles. Maybe Null because of the power cosmic and he comes with the sword, and maybe you could do something with that because he gets the cool like smoke cloud is free but generates obscuring, and you could place him so he gets kind of like his own like 4 square move around. So he may not have seen a lot of play. I think did Tom play Null at some point? I feel
he may have in a Winamap, but
that's what I mean. I think at a Winamap one person played him and won, but that's the main problem with those figures in this set is that they all start with Charge, and their stuff just doesn't make up for it. So
that's right. So are y'all agreeing with me too on the con stuff?
Yeah, I don't think there's.
Okay. All right. So let's round out the show here with the new hotness of tent poles. I think starting with the non-prime rare Vulcan. Because a lot of folks have talked about him, but I think with the Battle Fury up top, he's just not worth it. This is a case where that's going to be detrimental to him.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So I think the big new guy being Emperor Vulcan, we've talked about him quite a bit on the show. We talked about him in the set review. We talked about him in our rankings. 2 stop clicks. Tyler likes to play this guy at the Venom symbiote. I'm thinking Carnage symbiote or the Soul Gem. And protected Pulse Wave with traded Pulse Wave. Cosmic, Ruler, Shi'ar, Imperial Guard. This guy
reduces penetrating damage.
That's right. Yeah, that too.
I almost like that more than the protective Pulse Wave. I mean, I like both, but reducing penetrating.
Well, the thing is that and this was the thing that always helped me out with Uni a lot, was positioning is hard, right? And I would be able to take quicker turns, get more rounds in, because Uni would have protected Pulse Wave Stealth or protected Pulse Wave Super Senses. And so just being able to say, well, here's my Emperor Vulcan setting here with whatever I've got on him. You can't outwit him. You can't Pulse Wave him. You can Side Blast him, but I'm going to get to roll out or reduce it. So it's being able to just set him there by saying, come on, I'm here, I'm done, take your turn, decide what you're going to do, potentially make a bad decision, and then I get to go heal above my stop click again, do something like that, and have this big beat stick beating you upside the head.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So that was my always thought with playing Uni, because I think someone asked, just incorporating some questions. Did someone? Maya Woes asked, who was the best Tentpole of all time? For me, that will always be Unimine is the best Tentpole of all time.
Goblin King for me.
Yes, it made me very excited to pulse wave all those Goblin Kings to death.
I should reiterate, Goblin King at 175 when he had willpower. For me.
Yeah. Ugh.
Good Goblin King.
Yeah. So, Emperor Vulcan, I like him a lot. The first question we got was from Giordano. Would you play Vulcan Prime at full or at 100? The 4 extra clicks and stock clicks seem worth the 75 points. Cameron Avery agreed. Do you see any situation you're playing him at 100?
Unless there was some wombo combo that had some great powers, no.
Yeah. And I think the traded Pulse Wave makes up for his lack of improved targeting. You just have to play around that.
So who are you pairing with him?
Jason, you had a team build here, right?
Yeah, I had him. I was going to equip him with the Carnage Symbiote, so he could heal and have a rollout to go along with his Impervious. I had Spider Pharaoh, who we've talked about already tonight. The 25-point Magneto from Dark Phoenix Saga set. Then 2 Proteuses at 10 points in Gorilla Grodd. So like a Spider Family ruler theme team.
Mm-hmm.
Was what I had with him.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider Pharaoh is a good secondary attacker. Magneto does a decent job of attacking. You got Replex. You got your Empower Enhancement prob.
Yeah, I mean, and this, even when you've got your, Spider-Man family here, you can always sprinkle in the Marvellas and the Mary Janes.
Yeah, and I could do that too.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Do we generally care for theme with him? Is he one of those people that's I don't necessarily care about theme? He's got Running Shot Pulse Wave, so I mean.
Well, I just thought Spider Pharaoh was a nice complement with a bunch of support powers.
Right, no, I'm not.
Happens to make it that. Yeah.
Right, I'm not saying that against your team. I'm thinking for anyone trying to build, and they're in general, do we think about, does he require theme?
So, I don't think so. My only thing is that I think Ruler, with Jason's version of the team with Spider Pharaoh and him, is probably my preferred combo. He is a Prime, so you can't use Q Prime. If he wasn't a Prime, then I would probably lean towards Cosmic because he brings Cosmic Leadership.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I don't necessarily care about theme because Batman really doesn't do much against him outside of in-cap. That's basically it. They have to take a bit to get Batman really going.
Or mind control. I mean, mind control on Vulcan is a big deal. But then again, if you do have theme, I mean, if you're going to use Mary Jane's for body blocking, to produce the paparazzis, and Marvella for barrier, then you're okay, right, against Batman. You probably want the theme there. It's just one of those things that you're not building theme to win map. You're just building theme because all of these things work together really well.
Yeah, I'm just leaning towards non-theme because I almost want just a better secondary attacker. I feel like Spider Pharaoh is good, but she's not the best secondary attacker you could go with because I want someone with Emperor Vulcan to be KOing those paparazzis easily or taking out whatever because, I mean, I guess they need to share a keyword. I get that. So, I mean...
Dark Phoenix, maybe?
Yeah.
Cosmic.
Maybe Dark Phoenix. 'Cause I'm just looking at his damage power. That's how I feel like you can get him going almost every turn because there's just so much fodder out there. I know there's Vulture, but they kind of mitigate that somewhat. So I'm just thinking
I thought about like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's kind of was the end of my thought. I was just thinking like I guess I haven't really put Spider Pharaoh in my mind as a secondary attacker. Like she is. It's just 11 for 4 is real good.
She has good stats. Yeah. I don't know. I thought about putting like him with like Dark Phoenix and like Franklin Richards.
I like that.
On a cosmic team. Dark Phoenix just eats pogs, and then you can trigger his power. And Franklin can either be an attacker or be a support piece, and it's fairly hard to kill, really.
That's true. I do like that, Jason, because
I like that
Vulcan
too.
doesn't care if he gets retailed on either.
Yeah.
He's just going to reduce it, and of course, I'm still going to put like Carnage Symbiote probably on him either way. I just like the double rollouts. I don't know. I'm a fan of the double rollout.
No, I like that. I like it. Yeah, I think this is one of those things where he's defensive enough, like where the Carnage Symbiote helps him too, and plus he gets a little bit higher points, where the Carnage Symbiote's going to be a little bit more help for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Dark Phoenix with him a lot. I wouldn't have put 2 on there with him, but it doesn't really work out point wise for that. But yeah, I think Franklin's good with him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It puts a really big target on that one Dark Phoenix if you only play the one Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, right? Because that should put them in range of Emperor Vulcan too, right?
It should. Yeah. Like if you could drop Franklin, I guess, and find somebody else to take that spot, and then you could put another Dark Phoenix in there.
Yeah, I think that's really the thing that I was looking at just right now. Was there something else that you could do besides Franklin?
I was just looking for a support piece. Like just something that has a lot of support. Of course, Franklin's just a Swiss Army knife, but
sure.
I didn't put a ton of time into looking at other pieces just yet, but.
Right. I mean, I
saw Tyler play him on that Dark Phoenix team. And I thought about him, but I mean, Franklin can pick anything you want at any time.
That's right. Yeah. Franklin Richards, and then you got Franklin Von Doom too.
And then I had a couple of Brainiacs on there just to round the team out for the 20 points because I wasn't really sure what else to do with it, but yeah.
I like that, Jason. Alex, who's your team built for?
What was my what?
Who's your team built for? Or did you not come prepped with one today?
A Tentpole?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an Omega team whenever we get to Omega.
I think this is probably a good time to switch to Omega then.
Well, technically we've got Apocalypse and Juggernaut before that, but we can go to Omega first if you want.
Yeah, well, technically we don't have Apocalypse because I don't believe that they're good as Tentpoles.
150 Apocalypse maybe, but we've talked about that one a lot recently,
right.
So
I agree.
I do not have a team prepared for that.
And then I think the thing is with Juggernaut, like I don't want to, steal Tyler's thunder too much, but I do have my Juggernaut team already in Realms. I have a 100-point Juggernaut team to share.
Go for it.
Which is not really a Tentpole, but it's 100 Jugs, Magneto, Jason Weingard, the 25-point XCPS Magneto, and I'm sorry, it was Danger, so let me back up. 100 Jugs, 50 DR Mags, Jason Weingard, 25 2x2 Mags, Mother, Ock Arms, and then something maybe like a Liar Ring or a Map Bonus or something. But I think Tyler's kind of throwing around the idea of Mother and 175 Jugs in the Ock Arms, and then 2x2 Magneto. Mm-hmm. So I think that's your basis for the only close combat Tentpole that we're advocating for.
Yep, and that's just because he does he makes charge not feel like charge.
That's right, because it's a freaking 13 movement, goes through everything with a TK and the Ock Arms to give him the extra square reach.
Exactly.
So it's a bunch. And TK lines him up for a direct path pretty easily. Omega. What's your Omega build? So we've talked about Omega at length on the past episodes. What's your build, Alex?
So if I were to play Omega today, it would probably be at no surprise that I'm playing Danger Room figures with her. I'm giving her Carnage Symbiote. I think that's a requirement. She already has Shape Change, and I'm not a big fan of the 10 points for Soul Gem. Or sorry, the same points. I would much rather have the Plasticity, so she doesn't get swarmed by a bunch of paparazzi, and just not able to escape when she needs to. Plus, I'm also counting on her taking damage, so she's just not going to have that shape change special power forever. She could, if I'm playing great, she could. But otherwise, I like having the rollout technically permanently, unless it's outwitted. And I like having the heal when she KOs something. So I'm playing both Magneto, Danger Room Magneto, Danger Room Sinister, and Exospecs with the Carnage Symbiote. So that puts me at, I believe, 292.
It's 290.
Yeah, 292. Because Exospecs is 12. Exospecs is 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the dumb object that throws every build off. And then I've debated between location bonus of Stark Tower or, follow me on this one, Latvernia Village. That one. Latveria Village or Latvernia. I don't know how you say it.
That's the one that gives you the villagers?
Uh-huh.
What are the villagers going to do for you?
Well, here's the thought process. I don't have leadership. So regardless if I fail map. So say I don't make the map roll. I get Bolt. Well, Bolt's only going to be able to equip one object for me anyway. He's going to go, pick it up, hypersonic back, give Omega one of the objects. She equips it. And then I guess Magneto runs up and picks up the other object. But if I do Latvernia Village person, that's kind of similar to what happens. I mean, maybe I just don't equip the first turn. So that might sound bad, and it could be bad. But if I win map, that's awesome. Whereas if I win map with Start Tower, that's bad. Because I don't want to win map, and I don't want to have to deal with that stupid rolling for a thing, because that's never going to work. Like, if I don't win map, if I win map with Stark, I'm hosed. Like, I'm going to have to take time. Like, Magneto's going to have to go get the object and, like, bring it to her. Or, Sinister will. Sinister will go pick it up, give it to her, and she can equip, and then Magneto's got to pick it up on his own. For me, I'm thinking...
So wait a minute, and which Magneto are you playing?
Danger Room Magneto, Danger Room Sinister.
Danger Room Magneto gets... Then you can't play the Exospecs.
Maybe I didn't do the math right. Hold on.
Because Sinister's 40
50 for Mag, 40
yeah,
for Sinister.
I don't know. I don't have Sinister. That's what it was. In my head, I had Sinister, but I don't have Sinister.
Okay.
Hold on just a sec. I had it on my phone. But either way, I was trying to do the math to figure out what is better for me, if I win map or lose map, and it's just... I feel like Stark, while Bolt is amazing, it's just too much if I lose map.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm at 272. So I had 30 points of a robot in there, I believe. So I could do like Superman, the robot Superman, to pick up the objects for me. So then it doesn't matter if I win map for Stark or whatnot. I think the debate really for Lavernia for me was that if I win map, Omega gets Mastermind, which is pretty sweet to the Lavernia peasants or whatever they are, and I like that.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work out, I feel like that's still okay. But either way, the main team is Omega, Magneto, Carnage, and Exospecs. Like, that's the main team. That gives me 28 points to put to whatever else I want to do. And that's really probably just going to be like a Brainiac or two or a Superman or two, the robot Superman, to kind of fluff the rest of the team, because there's not really I don't think there's a 25-point robot that I'm aware of. Like, that's a retail, I mean. Like, if there's a cool retailer, then I'd be all over it. But fortunately, we don't have Skyscraper anymore. If we had Skyscraper, that'd be awesome. Or the What If one, the Colossal Captain America.
Maridroid.
Oh yeah,
Maridroid. Yeah, that guy. I'm sorry. No, I'm an idiot. I just figured out where my other 20 points went. Lavernian Engineer. That's where it went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sitting there like, how did I leave off 20 points? Lavernian Engineer, 20 points. It's a POG. I get it. But Perplex and Support for robots. So that means I can use him to perplex and heal Omega if need be. So that was my whole plan. Sorry. I knew I was forgetting something. So Lavernian Engineer takes me to 292, and then I chose between either the Village or Stark map. I'll probably play both, like test both, to see which one statistically is better for me. I just feel like Stark map feels bad because if I win map, it's a waste. But if I win map or lose map, like lose map, I at least got like a body blocker or someone who can go with Omega to make sure she's not single target pulse waved. That's my thought process there.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, let's move into our listener questions for tonight. McConnell Lamar, what are your top 3 House of X team up cards? I think we're going to table that question until the pending errata comes out for Emma and stuff or whatever. I think the team up cards are just in a state of flux right now. That ranking them top 3 would not be fair, knowing that they're likely going to change in the future. And then Jason Labendira. Old Man Phoenix, what kind of equipment would you put on him in modern or bronze? So I think with the point cost for him, I think, he's not a viable Tentpole, right? Because, that's what he was saying. He's not meta. But I think, Carnage Symbiote, probably, in Modern. And then in Bronze Age, pretty much the default answer there is going to be a Wall Construct to give him the protection that he's looking for.
See, I almost would go more Exospecs or even dare to go Infinity Gauntlet. Just to give him, because my biggest problem with him is that he's a charge flurry piece, and he's kind of stuck with that 13, so you only charge for 7. Whereas if I could give him something that, like, hypersonic, I feel would be better. Just so he could fly around and actually, like, I know he can't flurry. I just give him a little bit mobility because, sure, a rollout would be nice, but he already heals at the beginning of each turn, and I think it's unlikely that you're gonna die. So I'm not afraid to give him a little bit more offensive power.
Sure. Jason, do you have any other thoughts?
No, not really.
Okay.
I didn't even know what he did.
Yeah, it's okay. We're just glad to have you back. Gerardo asked, we talked about the minimum points, and in maximum points for a Tentpole, and we talked about secondary attackers versus full support for the Tentpole. Jeff Dumas asked how many points is too many for a Tentpole, top 3 Tentpoles. And then I'm going ahead and summing up a few of these together because I think there's a point to make here. Rick Ryan says Omega is Omega viable. Maya Woes also asked, who is the biggest, baddest, meanest Tentpole currently in Modern? And then Pietro Rasu, list and ranking of the Modern Tentpoles with a little focus on Dark Side. We did that on Dark Side. So all of these ones that are asking for and thanks all of y'all for all your questions. Those that are asking for like a conclusive ranking at the end of this episode, I don't think we quite have that for you at the moment. Because everything's new, everything needs testing, everything's got to run through the gauntlet. I think if I'm to talk about my top 3 that I'm excited to test, would be our 250 Panther build that we talked about, Emperor Vulcan. I think just 2 then. That's the 2. Emperor Vulcan and 250 Panther.
You were kind of excited about Ultron, just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe, but not excited. I'm excited for you to be able to test that one, I think.
That's fair. Yeah, for me,
you could be excited for your friends.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely Omega, Ultron, maybe some of the other Galactus tiers. I'm mostly just excited to start. I really need to sit down and start testing Galactus, not as the Tentpole, but like adding him to all these Tentpoles, because I haven't done that yet. I just haven't sat down to do it, and he's sitting right behind me, so I feel like I need to. He's just pointing at me, so.
What one were you most excited about, Jason?
Emperor Vulcan probably right now.
Yeah.
And the Panther, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm liking the Panther. I like the Panther with the Carnage symbiote. I get that the Mary Jane might blow it up, but I like it good enough to move it forward, I think. What was the other 40-point piece again? What was the other 40?
Shit, I forget.
It's pretty late.
Alex, what was the other 40-point piece?
Sinister? Are you talking about Sinister?
Yeah, Sinister.
Sinister,
yeah. Yeah, Sinister. Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah.
I love Danger.
I'm very
Sinister.
excited about that. Yeah, I do too.
And I hate Sinister as the character. I just am not a fan of Mr. Sinister. But him as a hologram or Danger Room, whatever, sure.
Right. All right, let me... so Rick, I think, is Omega viable? I think we've got to test it, right? I don't have a conclusive yes-no for you right now. He's probably a little bit less exciting for me than a couple of the other ones that we looked at. Patrick Vore, a Tentpole usually should be a singular unit that a team is built around, usually one that has high sustainability, longevity, impressive stats, unique traits, and abilities. From a game design perspective, what priorities would you give these traits of a Tentpole? How do you balance point cost with power or strategy a Tentpole would bring? And finally, what style of Tentpole do you think could absolutely shake up the meta if released? So I think we answered the first 2 parts of his question pretty much throughout the whole episode. But what new Tentpole? I think the problem is that if there's anything too crazy, right? That if it's too oppressive, it's going to get a watch list. So Heroclix is going very much towards fair play, right? 1776 gets knocked down. Black Widow gets knocked down because of their oppressiveness. And then that's a problem. So anything that would shake it up too much would just get watch listed. So, And then Eric Adams asked about one that we can say why not was Elixir.
Elixir? As like a Tentpole?
Maybe.
What? That doesn't sound right.
I don't know. It doesn't sound right. Maybe as a support piece. Sorry.
Well, that I can see. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the support, and
they
could be adjacent or to opposing.
We talked about. I would say, Eric, we talked about her Elixir in quite a bit of our set review episodes. I think maybe realistically, Elixir is missing like Perplex or something like that to be at the tip top of support tier. James Craddock, we talked about Tentpoles in general versus the field. And then Ray Williams, can a Tentpole be held up by 2 Tentpoles? I think the closest we get to that, Ray, would be double super rare Captain Marvels, where 2 things create 1. Or like Punisher War Machine and Captain Marvel super rare together at 95.
Double Onslaught.
Double Onslaught. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Onslaught Punisher War Machine even. Right. You get 2 things that cohese together, that if one part fails, they kind of fall apart. So, but when they're working together, they're almost unbeatable if they're working together really well. All right. Answered all the questions. Appreciate all y'all's questions. Appreciate y'all's support. Final thoughts, Alex.
I am excited to play some Galactus and some Omega and House of X. Let's get to testing.
Jason?
I was just excited to be back and talk about Clix again. I kind of fell off the train, man.
Yeah.
But I'm actually kind of excited about it now. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. We are certainly glad to have you back, Jason. Looking forward to some new content coming out. We'll have a new contest posted with Troll and Toad. Some Mighty Age stuff we'll be talking about. And thanks everybody for listening to Clixed Off today. We'll talk to y'all next time.